On today's episode of Let's Be Real, we'll be looking at functional compassion, which is kind of like applied forgiveness. What does this mean? What barriers do you have? And I'm hoping to do this on the faster side. Good morning, holler. Hi. So if you're just joining, what we're talking about today is functional compassion, forgiveness. And I really like to speak to the paradoxes we find in living our best lives where it's all true. And I think with compassion and being kind and loving towards others and taking on the responsibility to live and be the light, there can be a gray area that comes up that's like, it looks like weak boundaries, but it sounds like, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. And when we're looking at functional compassion, and I work with a ton of people, both that are my clients and that I am clients of or receiving, some of their perspective and gifts. And my shaman was the one that really underlined like, hey, how about compassion for you? So when we're looking at functional compassion, it is allowing, so the T is for them, the U is for you. Good morning. Functional compassion is saying, it's okay. I understand you are doing that, or are like that, or are wrestling with that, or express in those ways, or have those challenges. It's okay. And compassion for yourself is saying, but not for me. And that's our paradox. That's where we can get lost, is the mind wants it to be this, or the mind wants it to be this. They're a bad person. They can't be in my life. It's not okay. They're a good person. They're doing their best. They have to be in my life. But if that doesn't work, how about this hybrid model where you can appreciate and have compassion for their experience? Know that they are truly doing their best. I really believe that people are doing the best they can. If they really knew the impact of their screwy behavior, if they really got it, they wouldn't do it because they're only hurting themselves. And so compassion is acknowledging that no matter what they got going on, like if they couldn't, they wouldn't. And it's okay. You don't have to be mad or sad at them for behaving those ways, having those challenges, showing up or not showing up with their shit. You don't have to deny that that's their experience, nor that it doesn't work for you. So when I'm teaching boundaries, I teach them like a garden. And we each have our own little plot of land. This is our being. This is the resources that we have access to. And you can think about resources kind of groundedly, like monies and time. Or you can think about them like energy and creativity and life force, etc. You have a plot of land, we all have a plot of land. It's up to you to manage your plot of land. It's your garden. The more intentional you are with the care of your garden, the more yield you will have to share with others, and also the more beauty and inspiration you'll add to the world. If you are making choices that are not okay for you, meaning you can understand why they're that way, you keep saying, that's okay, even though it's not okay for you, you will compromise the yield of your garden and likely have to draw from other people's gardens. And so there's a net negative effect when we aren't mindful of our own stuff. Stay in your own yard. That means that you run the fences here. Yeah, weed and feed the garden. You run the fences here, which means you get to choose who walks in your garden or not. When they come into your garden and then they leave, is the garden more beautiful or they fuck some stuff up? Do you have cleanup work to do? Like, what is the impact of that person on your garden? Similarly, allow that everybody else is managing their own, and you might not be invited, you might not be a good fit for their garden. Do you need to understand it? No. Do you need to like it? No. Do you need to respect that that is their, like, that's up to them? Yes. And the more that you're able to offer that level of, like, do what's good for you to other people, the more you'll be able to offer it to yourself. Kind of things balance out. So, and I think another barrier, so this was about functional compassion and forgiveness. It's easier to forgive somebody when you're not expecting them to come back with that bullshit again. When you have your boundary up, when you're saying, like, it's okay, I understand that you're having trouble with that. They might not see themselves. We often do not see our darkest spots. They might not understand why it's not okay for you. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for coming. Just like I was saying with the garden, they don't need to understand. If it doesn't work for you, you're allowed to say, not for me. And if they can't hear that, you don't have to say shit. Which creates, because you're so busy taking care of yourself and managing your own garden, it creates space for you to appreciate, accept, and have compassion for their experience without making it your problem. I also think that, or find that, when you have done the forgiveness work and you're working on your boundaries, it's easier for you to be present in your moment where your little spidey senses. And in your moment, then, you can decide and see what the impact of things are for you or how they feel. Is this, do you have like a, I'd rather not do that kind of feeling, or like, oof? Or is there excitement even though it doesn't make sense? Is there aliveness? Is there love? Is there, does it, you can feel what is in your moment if you're not concerned about what other people are doing. If you're able to focus on, okay, what's okay for me, you'll be there, be more present to make those decisions. And so we're looking for right, comfy, and true. Not absolutely, not objectively. They are relative markers. Right for me right now. Comfy for me right now. True for me right now. That means that it can change. They're probably different than other people's, and you don't need to have the answers forever. You only need to be with your moment and be able to decide, like, is this right for me right now or no? Comfy for me right now or no? True for me or right now or no? And again, offer other people this. Don't try to get in their garden. Like, give it to them. Let them invite you. So today, very briefly, I talked about functional compassion and forgiveness, which is kind of the gray area of, like, how can you know that everybody's God and doing their best and it's divine, and also not let them rain on your parade? You appreciate and have compassion for them. That's okay. I understand what you're working with. I know it's not you. I know it's your daddy stuff, or I know that you're just afraid of your greatness. I know that you're, okay. Offer them compassion. I appreciate your journey. I respect where you are. And the big old and, grand and, it's not okay for me. So this is functional compassion. It's understanding you don't need them to be a bad guy, wrong guy, villain. You don't need to spend all your days and times talking about them. It's not about them. It's about you. You're allowed to draw the line and let them be a good person working on their own shit, and also that shit doesn't have to be in your garden, in your world, if it's not right for you. And then I talked about the relativity of rightness. This is your moment. You have a little sense, that's your spidey sense of what is right, comfy, and true for you right now, which means it can change and it's not going to be the same to everybody else. And because it's a spidey sense, it doesn't have to make sense. The spidey sense doesn't make sense off. Like, you feel it, you know it. You do not need to run it through your logic system. Sure, it can be helpful to go through a process of reconciling where there are false alarms. Sure, it can be helpful to reflect where you might have patterns of projecting fear or self-worth stuff or all these other things outside. Sure. At the same time, like, you got a sense and you know it, And the more that you let yourself know that you know, the more that you'll know that you know. You see what I'm saying? All right, well, that concludes my presentation for today. This series, along with the We're All Here Together, which just got new thumbnails, and Applied Spirituality are all available on youtube.com/The Shayley Show. So our older broadcasts, I Am Radio, Quick and Early Miracles, I would love and appreciate, if you're here, subscribe, like, share. If there's something that's helpful, let me know. If there's a topic or question that you have, let me know. I also work with people one-to-one to help them update the beliefs they have, the thinking they have that doesn't serve them, to reveal their unique, innate genius, confidence, voice, etc. It's super fun. I actually do draw pictures because it's easier to see things differently when you see them differently. So we do a lot of real fast, like light bulb type work, because we're not stuck in the language of time. We're not stuck in language, we're not stuck in time, or we're not stuck in ideas of the self. We're just kind of like, we're highlighting what has always been. All right, well, thank you so much for coming out today. I hope you have a beautiful day.